Hola y buenos días. Yo soy el señor Morris. Soy el maestro de español. ¿Cómo están ustedes? Today we'll do a spelling and a reading activity, and then we'll look at some other countries where they speak Spanish. We'll have a visit from a very special visitor who will share some really cool stuff with us. So let's go ahead and get started by singing our greeting song. Canten conmigo. Hola, hola, buenos días, bienvenidos, ¿cómo están? Todos juntos ya estamos listos para aprender. Muy bien cantado. Now, as I said, we'll start today's lesson with a dictation activity. Ahora, saquen papel y lápiz o pluma para escribir estas letras. Ready? T. T. You figure that one out? T. Did you get la T? T. Okay. Now this one's a little bit tougher. I con acento. I con acento. Now this isn't the letter E. I. Okay. Did you get this? I con acento. And con acento is that part right there with the accent mark. I con acento. And how about O? La O. And that one's pretty easy. Did you get la O? La O. And if we put those all together, we get tío. Tío. That's right. And remember, that was one of the relationships that we've been studying so far in this unit. But let's see about doing some reading now that we know the letters in Spanish. Okay, you recognize them pretty well. But what if I showed you some letters? Do you think that you'd be able to read them? Tell you what, one of the things that makes Spanish easy is the fact that the letters don't change the way they're pronounced like they do in English. So remember the vowel sounds. Remember these? And say them with me here. A, E, I, O, U. So those are always pronounced the same. And then add the consonant sounds to read. So try this one. Be-a. How would you pronounce that? Ba. Very good. Now read this one. Can you read it? Ba-ba. Wow. Very good. You just read a word in Spanish. Now, does anyone know what this means in English? Baba? Well, it's the liquid that comes from a baby's mouth when it's starting to grow teeth. Sometimes we call it drool. Yeah, that's baba. Let's try another word. How about this one? Can you read it? Sí. Good. Now, here's a trick question. What does that mean? Okay, it means if when it's written like this, but if it has an accent, you see the difference here? It means yes. So sí without the accent means if, and with the accent it means sí, yes. So that's why I tell you that accent marks are important. Let's do one more, okay? Who can read this? Pe-a. Pa. Very good. Now read this. Papa. It doesn't have an accent. So what does it mean? It means potato. But if we add the accent mark, papa, it means what? That's right, it means dad. Now, which of these words have we been studying so far in the unit? Papa or papa? Do you remember most of the family members? I bet you do by now. So let's just go right ahead and start to study about the countries that speak Spanish in Central America and the Caribbean. Now, Central America is not a separate continent. It's part of North America. But because of its location, it's in between North and South America, it's called Central America. These are the Spanish-speaking countries of Central America and the Caribbean. And if you have a world atlas or a social studies book or a map of the world, you can follow along while we're going over these. You might want to make some notes or just kind of make sure you have a reference to refer to. Now, this here is Central America. Up beyond this country is where Mexico is, and down here below this country is where South America starts. This is ocean, and out here is the Caribbean Sea. Okay? Well, let's go ahead and look at the names of these countries. Starting off up here, this country here, this red one, is called Guatemala. Guatemala. And it's right next to the country of Mexico, just to the south. Now, next to Guatemala, this red country here is called Belize. You see, you pronounce all of the letters in Spanish, so it's Belize. Now, if you look in an atlas, you'll find that the official language of Belize is English. But in reality, most of the people there speak Spanish because it's a small country surrounded by Spanish-speaking countries. Next, this lavender country right here is called El Salvador, which means the Savior. El Salvador. Okay. Next to El Salvador is this lime green country. It's called Honduras. Honduras. Okay, if we continue down, this orange country here is Nicaragua. Nicaragua. Then down here, this one is called Costa Rica. Costa Rica, which means coast rich, or the rich coast. Yeah. And finally, this last one down here is called Panama. You see the accent there, Panama. Now, I know a really neat palindrome about Panama. It goes like this: a man, a plan, a canal. Panama. So you can read it forwards, or if you start at the end and read it backwards, it says the exact same thing, a palindrome. Now, these next countries are in the Caribbean Sea up here, okay? En español dice que están en el mar, okay? Try to say that and remember that the A is always sounds like ah. Now, all of these countries are called islas. Son islas. Okay, can anyone guess what islas are? Islands. Okay. Estas islas aquí son Cuba. Cuba. Okay, and that's just below Florida, right? Over here we have this isla, and it has two different countries on it. One is Haiti, where they speak French. The other one here is the República Dominicana. República Dominicana, and they speak Spanish there. And then finally, this one way up here, you see this yellow one? Is Puerto Rico. Although Puerto Rico is not considered a country, okay? It's not a country all by itself. It is a self-governing commonwealth of the United States of America. Yeah, so it's a little bit different. Now, a special visitor came to our classroom from the country of Guatemala, and that's this one that you see right over there, okay, the red one right next to Mexico. She is Marina Vasquez, and she agreed to come and talk to us about her country. Ahora, presten atención todos. Marina, muchas gracias. Thank you for being with us today. Now, she works with us here, so I know a lot of things about her, and she's going to tell us some things about the country of Guatemala. Okay. First of all, could you tell us something about the people of Guatemala? What are the people like there in Guatemala?
Well, they're farmers, they are hard workers, they are craftspeople.
They're craftspeople. Now, the people in Guatemala, are they generally people who came over from Spain?
No, they're natives from Central America, and the Mayan people, a lot of people assumes that they're dead, that they don't exist, the Mayans, but we're still alive. Yes, and we still practice a lot of the traditions.
Well, now you're Maya yourself, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Because a lot of people think that the Mayas came before the Aztecs and that the Mayas were all dead and gone by the time the Aztecs came, but there's still Mayas alive today.
Well, in Guatemala, 65% of the population is still Mayan Indians. They practice their traditions and the culture, their religion.
Wow.
Yes.
I didn't, a lot of people I think don't realize that there's still a lot of Mayas in most of the countries now.
Right.
Well, could you tell us something about the country itself? What is the country like there in Guatemala?
Well, it's the size of Ohio, and it's 10 million people. Like I said, 65% of the population are Mayan Indians, and the other 40 are Latinos, which is a mixture of European and Indian blood.
Wow. Now we see a picture here. Is this a picture of Guatemala?
Yes, it's the picture of Lake Atitlan, and around the lake we have 6 volcanoes. And
So is that a volcano up there on the
yes,
left? Wow.
yes,
Are
we
they
have
active volcanoes?
Some of them they are, yes.
Wow.
And then we have 12 different villages, and each village has different traditional clothing, culture, and language.
So the villages are actual Mayan villages. The Maya people still live around the lake.
Exactly.
Are they large villages? Do people get together and do things in the village?
Yes, the largest village in around the lake is Santiago Atitlan. That's where I met my husband. Yes, but like I said, everyone has a different culture, clothing, food.
And they get together and they have their markets. People come in from different places.
Yes, that's right.
Wow.
Yes.
And now here we see somebody in a market, and what is she selling?
She's selling her huipiles, traditional clothes.
The huipil is the
It's
shirt.
the blouse. Yes.
Wow. And now I noticed that they have very bright colors, and I noticed that your shirt also has a very bright color, but it's different from hers. Are there different styles of shirts?
Yes, this one comes from Panajachel, which is a lot of people have been traveling to Guatemala and they know what is Panajachel, but this is not my traditional clothes. I wear different huipil in my country.
Each person from a different village wears a different shirt, and you can tell where they're from by what they're wearing.
Exactly. If they go to a marketplace, they will see 20 different traditional clothes.
Wow.
And you can say, well, she comes from the west or the east or the south.
Just by what they're wearing?
Exactly.
Well, now, are these made by machines?
No, we have a backstrap loom weaving style, and in the picture you can tell this young lady is making a blouse, which she's making this part right here, just the front, and then she has to make the other two.
Wow, so they're still made by hand.
Yes,
Wow. Well, now, as I mentioned, the Mayas preceded the Aztecs. The Mayas existed long before the Aztecs came into Mexico. Are there still any remnants, any ruins of the Mayans?
Yes, they still have the temples, the Mayan temples, and we have
Ooh, what is this temple here?
ruins. This is the temple of in Tikal. This area is for Tikal, where they have, you can see the sun in there. I used to work as a tourist guide in there, and I used to take people up there right to the top of the pyramid. And it's 112 feet high.
Wow.
So I needed a rope to climb because the stairs were so big, and I'm very short. Yes.
Is that right?
As you can tell, Guatemalan people are short. Yes.
Well, that's cool. So you can still go to the ruins.
Yes.
Now, they've used these a lot of times to study the movements of the stars. I happen to know this, but as a Maya, I'm sure you're very proud.
Well,
the Maya astronomers invented what idea in
The
math?
zero.
The zero, that's
number.
right.
Yes.
They invented the number zero
Exactly.
before any of the Europeans, including the Arabs,
1,000
came along
years
with it.
before the Europeans.
That's
did.
right.
Yes.
And now, you said you were a tour guide and you showed the ruins to different people. We see here, who's this young gentleman down here on the
this
left?
is my great husband. I have been married with him for so long.
And he went to Tikal, and that's where you met him.
Yes, he's an anthropologist here at NAU too.
Wow, that's great. So it sounds like Guatemala is a fascinating place.
Yes.
And people do speak Spanish, so in spite of the Mayan languages, we could still understand it and talk
Yes,
to them.
almost everyone is bilingual. We have 23 Mayan dialects, and 5 of them are the largest ones. So you need to know Spanish to be able to communicate in each village.
Cool. That sounds like a great place to go
Yes,
and
it
look
is.
and meet
Yeah, I hope
people.
we can
and see
take
their-
our kids over there.
Hey, I
someday,
think
huh?
that'd be great. I'd love
Yes.
that. Marina, muchas gracias.
Muchas
Thank you
gracias,
for,
Marcel.
for coming to visit
Sure.
with us. Muy bien. That was great. I really think that's fascinating stuff. Ahora, saquen la hoja de actividades llamada Mapa y Banderas del Caribe y Centroamérica. Okay, so here we have the mapa, y aquí están las banderas, since we have more than one, it's plural, huh? De Centroamérica y el Caribe. Now again, what I'd like you to do is to write the name of each country in its corresponding place. And then once you've done that, you can come down here and color the flags of the Caribbean and Central American countries using a resource book to find the right colors. Now we also have the names of the countries listed here. So what you can maybe do is use this to identify them. And I'm going to give you a start here. This country here is just south of Florida, okay? And it is C-U-B-A, Cuba. Cuba. And now remember this one here, I said this one island has two countries on it. Haiti speaks French. And over here, this one speaks Spanish. Do you remember what that one was? La República Dominicana. So once you finish that, you can go ahead and color yours. I've colored mine. And then get your crayons or your colored pencils out or your markers and see about coloring all of those flags. Okay? Today, we learned about the countries in Central America and the Caribbean where people speak Spanish. And we got to visit with Marina Vasquez from Guatemala. And she told us about all of the clothes. Isn't that cool? You wear your clothes depending on where you're from. So if you see anybody out on the street, you can look at what they're wearing and say, oh, I know where that person's from. Yeah. Next class, we'll start to look at the Spanish-speaking countries in South America by looking at a country that is very near and dear to my heart called Paraguay. So maybe you can go ahead and start to look for some information about Paraguay before our next class. That way you'll have an idea of what I'm talking about. Pero saben que ya es hora de despedirnos. For our goodbye song today, let's sing La Bamba. Canten conmigo. Para bailar la bamba, para bailar la bamba, se necesita una poca de gracia, una poca de gracia pa' ti, pa' mí, ahí arriba y arriba. Ahí arriba y arriba, por ti seré, por ti seré, por ti seré. Bamba, 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 bamba. Yo no soy marinero, yo no soy marinero, soy capitán, soy capitán, soy capitán. Bamba, 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 bamba. Good job, guys. Until next class, adiós y hasta luego.
you.